Welcome to Idea Tennis, where we challenge ideas, elevate thinking, and serve up conversation that make you question everything.
I've never been a big fan of like posting on one social platform and then sharing it out automatically to all the rest. Because while you are the same person, the message you share on each of the platforms isn't necessarily going for the
Plus,
same audience.
plus the algorithm
Yeah.
different on them. You're optimized for different things.
But the truth is, we live in a transactional world. Without transactions, also known as sales, is no right. There's no business. There's no economy. There's no growth. And the difference between someone who's saying that's fitting into a mold that society wants to fit into. It's about being uniquely you, unapologetically you. It's about becoming that you, becoming the person that you're meant to be. You miss
Jess,
me?
you alive and well?
I'm alive
You
and well. Miami is what I needed.
good for you.
Yes, Miami is what I needed to be in a positive environment. I got to hang out a bit with people that I enjoy. I come back home just really trying to focus in on planting more seeds with people and putting out there what it is that I'm doing. And
You know what's interesting, Jess? We're gonna. I'm hoping if this conversation started already, let's continue. But you know, I was studying Comcast. I know you do. I don't know if you have Comcast, but I was studying their marketing strategy and how much these guys are everywhere. And I was looking at how they have their different layouts on different social media platforms because they're on everywhere, right? But they have the Xfinity, they have Comcast, they have all this stuff laid out. But their messaging is a little different on different platforms. So I was looking at you started social media audit thing, is looking at organization like that. And if you're gonna do your personal brand, because personal brand is the thing now, and you're gonna be on multiple platforms, you gotta manage them. You gotta figure out how do you message on Facebook, how do you message on LinkedIn, how you message on Instagram, because it's different messaging because it's different audience. At least sometimes it's the same people watching, but they put on a different suit when they go on these platforms, right?
yes,
I'm on LinkedIn, I put on my professional suit, I want to see professional stuff.
yes.
But really, same people. But then how do you really manage the messaging across the different platforms if you want to build your personal brand? So I think Comcast is one of the one I've been studying. I've
Mm-hmm.
been doing a lot of research on them to see how they're doing it. They're like everywhere and they're really good and they got the stuff laid out pretty good. Anyway, that came to mind just now he was talking.
It's why I've never been a big fan of like posting on one social platform and then sharing it out automatically to all the rest. Because while you are the same person, the message you share on each of the platforms isn't necessarily going for the
Plus
same audience.
plus the algorithm
Yeah.
different on them. You're optimized for different things. Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't ever really promoted people doing that. Sometimes someone who's just getting started and kind of feels like it's overwhelming, okay, use that as a crutch. But at some point, you need to let go of the crutches and start walking on your own and figuring out, well, what's the audience that I have on Instagram? What's the
Hmm.
audience that I have on Facebook? What's the audience that I have on LinkedIn? What's the audience that I have in WhatsApp? What's the audience and what's the message that I want for those people? And it doesn't mean that it's a completely different message, but sometimes it's curated a little different. Sometimes it's maybe on Instagram more direct than on Facebook. On Facebook, it's more of a softer message to get people inspired and engaging so that they start to see your content. And even though people don't comment, like this weekend at this conference, I had several people come up to me and say that they haven't really engaged that I've noticed on my social platforms with me, that they've been noticing my content and they've been watching what I've been posting. And I was like, oh, I need to get back on and post more. But it's who you're trying, what your goal is for each of the platforms. And yes, it's a business and it's a brand. What are you selling? Are you selling a a service? Are you selling an experience? For me, I'm selling community. And through my community is how I build business. The community is made up of lots of different types of people, which is what I love. But how I target my community on Instagram and how I do it on Facebook and even how I do it on WhatsApp is very different. So it's just trying to help people realize that there's not a one size fits all always when we're talking about social media.
I'm gonna go back to something I said earlier, but the needing the getaway, right? The convention thing. You know, I was thinking about you can hate people all you want, but you need them. Like, no, really, you need them. You need them. And I was thinking about how difficult it is for the people that don't have people.
Sad and lonely.
Jess, it's hate them
It's
all you
hard.
want. You need it.
It's
You need
hard.
them. And the reason why you need them, because bad people, bad news is your business opportunity. And if you don't connect with them, then you won't have people to serve. Because all we do is serve mostly bad news. Like all we do is transform bad news into good news. I mean, that's what business really is. And when you find somebody like, this is my bad, I got some bad news. I don't know what to do with it, Jess. And you're like, wait a minute. I like those kind of bad news, by the way. Not that I want bad news for you, but I just like those kind of bad news. Why? Because I get to do my creative thing here, right? I get to play with it. Like you brought me a bunch of um stuff from the food store, like just what you gonna like? Well, I like baking these kind of cake. I like like you find a thing and people like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I know what I can cook from this because I like making that dish because I know what these recipes create this dish. So the bad news, some people like your bad news because it's good news for them because they get to be creative. So even if you're marketing is bad news for you, but it's good news for somebody else. I love marketing. Branding is might be bad news for you, but it's good news for somebody I love to do branding. So what's your bad news?
My bad news is that I thought I didn't like to sell.
Mm?
I don't know if that's bad news, but I guess it was the bad news in the past. I felt like I didn't want to sell. I didn't like to sell. I didn't like the feeling of selling. And
Mm.
a lot of people feel that same way. A lot of entrepreneurs don't like the selling aspects of business. But the truth is, we live in a transactional world. Without transactions, also known as sales, there is no, right? There's no business, there's no economy, there's no growth. It's so funny when you're away on business and you meet people. I was in a backseat of an Uber with my friend Jackie, and Jackie's a beast. Jackie doesn't even get past hello before she's asking the person questions, where I take more of a conversational approach of having build rapport with somebody before I go in on a pitch. But she goes in. It's so funny. He had a help book, a professional development book in the backseat. He was so strategic, which is like how you knew it was a setup. Because it's in the backseat, but the title of the book is pointing like the passengers in the Uber. So she was like, oh, is this your book? Are you reading it? And then he says, yes, because, life is always about, growing. I said, that's right. If you're not growing, you're dying. So you gotta make sure that you're in that right headspace. He was like, yes, about mindset. And he starts talking. And then he asked what we were doing in Miami. And I told him, oh, we're here for, a business event. And we're talking. And then I didn't say the name of the company. I said a direct sales e-commerce business. And I said other things. So then he goes in and he starts to say how he is, and this goes to show in some ways, I wanted to coach him so bad. Oh my God. I wanted to coach him so bad because if I wasn't in the industry, I wouldn't have known what he was even like. I'm a platinum level in Amway, he says. And I start to chuckle and I was like, what's platinum? And he starts to go in and tell me all the benefits of platinum, but he doesn't tell me what actually platinum is. You get a trip each year, you get a year-end bonus of $20,000, and he's telling him, but he doesn't say what platinum actually is. Like, is platinum $100 a week, a month? Like, I don't know how these companies get paid. I know we get paid weekly, but is it $100 a month, 1,000, 10,000? To me, platinum is like, should be up there, but I don't know. And then Jackie asked him, what did he like best about his company? And I'm just sitting there because initially when he asked me what I did, I told him I'm a business coach. I help people start, build, and scale businesses, online businesses and traditional businesses. And then that's how the whole conversation then started to evolve. So then she asked him, what does he like best? And so he starts to say some things of what he likes best. But then I think he realized that, first off, he was not going to be able to pitch, at least to me. He wasn't going to. There was nothing that he was going to be able to say that was going to want me to listen to anything that he had. He was a sweet man. He spoke about how he met his wife in the company. They've been married for 1 year. Now, I would have led with that, me, because I believe in, I just don't do business with anybody, and I just want to know a little bit about a person before I decide if I'm going to say anything to them. But he then starts to ask us questions about our company. And I think he was asking the questions almost as partly because he was intrigued, and then also partly because he thought that he was going to be able to like one-up us. And I told him we have some of the most advanced technologies in AI in the industry. And so then he starts to say, he starts to list a bunch of things, like in apps, websites, whatever. I said, yeah, all of that. And he was like, oh, okay. And so then I said to him, listen, obviously you're doing well with Amway, and I can respect that. Just transition the conversation away from there. But then I asked him, I said, I know your wife has to be on Instagram. How can I follow her? And he immediately gave me his wife's Instagram to follow her. And I said, okay, when you go home tonight, let her know that you had a ride in your car and that I followed her. You'll know it's me. You know my name. And then we left. And the difference between someone who, I'm going to say, is interested in a one-and-done sale or a quick close versus someone who is interested in potential long-term business collaboration is the person who leaves there with the other person's information. Like, I left there with a way to contact them versus just leaving them and not having any way to be able to communicate with them in the future. Why? Because, okay, even if I'm following the wife, I see what they're doing. I could send the wife messages. I can grow a relationship with the wife.
Wait. Are you saying that you know how to go out there and get the numbers before you walk away from the day?
Yep, I know how to go out there and get the numbers. I left with a lot of numbers from Miami, Asher. I left with a lot of numbers, just so we know.
No, it's funny. It's funny. What comes to mind just now? Remember that scene in Good Will Hunting? Remember that with Matt Damon and
Ben Affleck.
um Ben Affleck, right? And the guy was trying to be smart at the bar, but at the end, Matt Damon was like, "Bro, I got her number, right?" And he put it in the window. So,
So that's what you think. I got the number. Yes, I got the number. Why? Because then what was the point of having a conversation with them? I mean, I'm saying them, but
the
it's with
follow up,
him.
the
It's the
follow up is
follow
the
up,
thing.
right? Because that's where the fortune is. You're not selling somebody a business, or very rarely are you selling somebody a product in a 10, 15-minute backseat of an Uber drive. I think so many people in like network marketing and multi-level marketing industries, they kind of think that that's how it's done. And then it doesn't go as planned. And then they're sitting there questioning themselves of, why didn't this work? Well, because how do you even know you like the person to be able to do business with them? Like, do you just do business with anybody? Like, to me, that's not, I just don't do business with anybody.
It's as personal as like, are you gonna let that be your barber or your hairdresser? It's a kind of relationship. Like, is that gonna be your bro? You gonna sit down and then cut your hair or do your hair?
Or even like, would I invite them to my home for dinner?
Mm.
Because it's like, if I don't, and I'm not saying that you have to be best friends with all the people you do business with, but you should have respect. You should be able to know them as a human being, as a person, not as a dollar sign, not as a point value system, not as a means to an end. because those are transactional that don't turn into long-term, loyal retention and business relationships. So now at this stage in business building, I'm all about long-term retention in the people that I do business with. Because at the end of the day, that's working smarter and not harder. It's not having to go out and find new people every single time, or So it was a good week.
Well, I am
missed you.
glad.
People asked for you. I was like, I'm flattered that you're asking me for Asher. I'm not the boss of Asher. He couldn't make it this week.
I saw you ask a question to Lauren. I think I saw a post or something.
Yeah, I was surprised that they put that on social. I asked her about what did being on the CEO Club, what was something you learned or surprised you about yourself as a result of this experience. And so she shared. So many people have, and let me tell you, at one point at this event, I felt like she was talking to me because she was talking about the redirect in life. If you're not where you want to be, that you have control, turning that pain into purpose and letting it fuel you and motivate you, and knowing that there's always an alternate route. I missed you there.
Well, I'm glad. I know. I like being missed.
I know you do.
Increase the value over time.
Yes. Mm-hmm. They never know. Where will Asher be?
Yeah. No. Well, I'm glad you had a break and caught a break at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Come back with new energy, new fire, new fuel. Yeah. So let me ask you this then: if you had to pick a star in the sky to point that energy at, what that star would be for you right now?
Like a literal star, like Jupiter, Mars, or
I'm just using metaphors to get you to
making
talk.
sure. I don't know what you always, Asher. I tell you something and then you're like, that's not a star. All right. Okay. I've built something. I've built something that I believe is beautiful. Now it's time to scale.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where I am focused on. That is where all my energy is flowing to scale, scaling smarter, not harder, and tapping into the resources that I already have to help me scale, and not feeling like I need to do it all on my own.
Mm-hmm.
That's different, right, Asher?
All on your own.
Yeah, I don't have to do it by myself.
Okay.
Do you agree?
I've always agreed with that. I always agree with that. I think it's the battle of the century right now. Not the battle of the decade. Let's go with decade, where the all by yourself is a good track on a good beat, but you could dance and get tired, man. And then what you gonna do when you exhausted? Like who's gonna pick up when you're exhausted, right? So that's the thing. I think the battle of the decade right now is how do you dance in the group of people, like back when we had black parties and stuff, and we used to like hang out. A lot of folks would go in and do stuff. I miss that too, by the way. I miss those group parties back in the day where people hang out and do stuff.
They don't do that anymore.
Oh,
I don't know why.
Yeah, recently, right? I started this one of the group. I've been in on Facebook, like my whole unit in Germany when I was in Germany. So I was like, man, it deactivated, but I was like, I'm gonna try and bring those people in one place. So I created a Facebook group, start inviting people in one place. Because I woke up with this dream about this one lady that I like popped in my dream. I'm like, couldn't remember her name. So I was like, what was that person's name? But then I started asking my battles. I'm like, hey man, you remember this person? Trying to like description and like, oh, that's the name. Then I started trying to find the last name, find the first name. I'm trying to anyway. But what it led to was me creating the group so I can bring those people in one place. So I started hitting them folks on Facebook, who mutual friends, like, hey, let's bring this thing live. Then the Hattie hit me. Actually, maybe you should write a book about that unit, the organization, like back then when everybody was together, people can get people's story together. Anyway, they started creating ideas for me to bring people in one place. And it brought me back to the one word I started with, like, you might hate people all you want, but you need them. And if you can imagine being in a place by yourself without no people, Like there's no value in that. And the reason why I'm so stuck on that, Jess, and it's gonna get a little spiritual right now if you don't mind, is we can say God is enough for a human being, but maybe God was like, yes, I could be enough. I was walking the garden with Adam, but was I enough for Adam, right? Because it thought it was maybe, I'm saying these words, it might not sound right, but I don't think he was thinking, I don't think I was enough for Adam, so I'm gonna give him Eve. I'm gonna give him somebody else. He has my presence, but he needs somebody else like him. So the spiritual is enough, but the spiritual without the physical is not enough because we need the physical. So you need a physical person in your presence to be to feel like earth is enough. Because the thing about earth, like I'm saying, if there's a shakeup happen on planet earth, the only thing that calms you down really is another person, by the way. I mean, you could say a dog could, but really people help people like feel centered. Like you need somebody to make you feel centered. And without that, then it's like, because when a disaster happens in your life, you call for God, but at the same time, a show up in your life that keep you centered is people. And without people, planet Earth might feel like it's off orbit. You can feel like you're out of alignment. So as much as we need God and spiritual in our life on planet Earth, you need another person. I think that's why, Eve showed up because Adam needed a person. All right, over to you. What are your thoughts? I just went in left field for you just now, but anyway,
Yeah,
bring it back to right field.
but where two or more are gathered is when we got church, right? It's when two or more are gathered, that's when we got church, no matter where you are. But going back to community and business, it's like the worst parts and the best parts of business, really any kind of business, are people.
They don't want to have bad news.
You in this bad news? Did you get bad news today?
No, no,
Oh,
no.
while I was away, did you get bad news? I know you missed me, but like,
No, but I'm gonna add something here. I forget the quote, but it says human beings are the only one that need to laugh because we're the only one that needs it. Like you're saying, like animal doesn't laugh, these other things doesn't really laugh. Human beings are the only one that need to smile, need to laugh because we're the only one that need it because we're the only one that has bad news. I mean, really, that we the only one that feel like bad news exists. Anyway, go ahead.
we also get to be the good parts and the best parts of business. When somebody has a breakthrough or innovation or something to share, or those require people. Yes,
Hmm.
the best and the worst require people, which is why I am super selective at this point of who are the people that I want to do business with. Why? Because if you like the person and something not so good happens, like you get bad news, you take it different. It feels different. It wasn't intentional, it wasn't on purpose. I said to someone yesterday, I asked a question. The question was really a yes or no question, but then it just evolved into something that really didn't need to be. And I then said, it was a yes or no question. You made it more complicated. No one was accusing you or saying that you did it on purpose or that mistakes happen, accidents happen, things happen beyond our control. Sometimes we don't even realize that things happen. I lost a ring in Miami. I lost a ring because I was washing my hands, and since I've lost a few pounds, my rings are a little big. And so I didn't want the ring to go down the drain in a public place. So I took the ring off and I put it what I thought was in a pouch. And then I forgot to put it back on when I was drying my hands. And so I went about my business, and I guess I put the pouch in my purse and it must have fallen out. I didn't lose the ring on purpose. The ring wasn't worth a lot of money. It was a nice, we're going to call it fashion ring. Can I get the ring replaced? Not the same exact one anymore because they don't sell it anymore. Was it the end of the world? No. Did I lose the ring on purpose? No. Do things happen? Yes. But it's also the perspective in which you process what happened. I lost the ring. Did I like it? Yeah, I liked it a lot. Is it the end of the world? No. Is it going to ruin my day? No. Am I going to now all of a sudden be pissed off and angry because I lost the ring? I have really no one to blame but myself, but I still lost the ring. I shouldn't take those feelings and put them on someone else. And so it's being able to, people think about things differently. And that is the hardest part, I say, of dealing with people. But it has to do with, and we've had these conversations before, their experiences, their reference points, their mindset, what they tell themselves, what they believe. And so if the person would have just answered the yes or no question with the yes or no, it wouldn't have evolved into something so much more. But because that person has things that they believe about themselves, it then turns into cray cray.
I'm gonna tell you something because I forget when I listened to Dan Sullivan. I listen to him all the time.
We
He's
know.
one of my yeah. But he said something about being unique,
Mm-hmm.
but then complain about why everybody is different from you. And it was like, ain't that the reason why you appreciate the uniqueness because everybody's not the same as you. So what if everybody was just like Jess? You would be like, ah.
No.
Okay. So the idea around, hey, celebrate your uniqueness or your difference
Mm-hmm.
because it's what makes you feel like you're not like everybody else, and don't expect everybody to be like you. Because you complain like, oh, why they not like this? Well, that means they will be just like you, and you wouldn't like that. So if you feel like you're smarter than everybody else, then celebrate it because you get to teach them. If you feel like everybody's too dumb for you, then hey, great. Because if they was all smart like you, then you wouldn't have no value in the presence of them.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't complain about the thing that makes you different, and you can't complain about the thing that make other people different. 'Cause their difference is what make the world nice and
Beautiful.
messy and
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you're
Uh-huh.
sounding like me, Asher.
I'm sounding like
Oh,
you.
Asher, you're not me, but you're sounding like me. Success
I'm
isn't
unique.
about,
I'm uniquely me.
yes, you are. Success isn't fitting into a mold that you feel society wants you to fit into. It's about being uniquely you, unapologetically you. It's about becoming that you becoming and becoming the person that you're meant to be. We get so hung up on, I was struggling with whether or not to go on this trip. There were more
Mm-hmm.
reasons why I should not go than I should go. But at the end of the day, when I came back home, I needed to be there. I needed
Mm-hmm.
to be surrounded by people that have good energy, good mindset, people who believe in more. Even if there was this young woman, I had never met her before, and we were at a lunch break, and we went to a local restaurant, casual dining restaurant, kind of like, I had never heard of this place before, and I'm not getting paid. This is not a paid sponsorship, but if there is a Naked Farmer near you, go to Naked Farmer. I'm gonna say a high end, like Chipotle, where you build the food, but it was like delicious, like
Mm-hmm.
steaks, like it was delicious, and all
Maybe you were just hungry. Maybe you were
farm
just
to
hungry.
table, like clean food, good eats, not eating junk. Anyway, back to the story. And it started to pour, like torrentially pour out of nowhere, and no one had an umbrella, and we were a good 3 blocks away from the venue that we were all attending the event at. And some people had like sandals on, not shoes or clothes, to be walking in like the torrential downpour. So we were kind of just standing in the restaurant waiting for an opportunity to run for it when the rain let down. And this businesswoman starts speaking to me that's there, and she starts asking me a lot of questions. I think she knew who I was. I didn't know who she was. And she starts to ask me a lot of questions. And all of the questions and all the things that she was saying had self-doubt and lack of confidence layered in them. Meanwhile, I'm trying to look for the rain to stop so I can make a mad dash, but I don't want to be disrespectful, so I'm engaging the woman in the conversation, and I'm trying to give her uplifting words. But then no matter how much or what I would say, she would then come back with something, whatever. And so then I said to her, how long have you been a business owner? And she says, oh, a long time, 14 years. She goes, but I can't find anybody that wants to do business with me. And I looked at her and I said to her, well, maybe it's time you evaluate how you're doing business. Maybe instead of thinking about what you feel you want or you need, you start to have conversations with other people about what they want and what they need. And perhaps you then talk about how what you have could possibly help them achieve what they're looking for. Those conversations hit different. But you, being a business owner for 14 years and not finding people that want to buy your product or do business with you, really at this point has become a reflection of taking a step back and looking to see, maybe it's me. And then the rain started to stop, and I opened the door and I ran out the restaurant. Partly because I didn't want to keep engaging with her. I'm not going to lie. I felt like she was draining my energy because of the negativity. But so many people get stuck in that, 14 years later, my business still isn't working. Well, let's take a step back and look to see, why isn't it working? Let's take a step back and to see, who are the people that I'm talking to? What am I saying to them? She started telling me about a coworker who was buying product from her, who the coworker felt the product was too expensive. And instead of trying to find a more affordable product that met the coworker's needs, she's trying to upsell the customer to 2 and 3 products. I'm like, you're not listening. But isn't that the biggest problem for most people? They don't listen.
I just recently got a compliment. Say, actually, you're one of the best listeners I've talked to in a long time. But to answer your question, self doubt. I'm gonna go back to that one. Self doubt. That is a very big word. It has a very big energy, and it's like common theme in a lot of people's life. It was in mine as well in some areas. And you're marketing things that are tied to you, and people are looking for trust in you before they say yes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't trust you, they're not gonna say yes. Like if you are doubting you, they're not gonna say yes. Like, is this thing working for you? If it's not working for you, it ain't gonna work for me. And what's working for you is the best product to offer. Is what's working for you. Whatever is not working for you, don't even talk about it. Why? Because you're gonna be having self doubt in it. And it's a hard lesson to learn when you're starting off because you want to sell what everybody else is selling, but what everybody else is selling is not what working for you because what's working for you is what people can buy into, and that's you. And if you are not confident in you, then nobody's gonna like. I'm not betting on you. Whatever you give me, I don't care about it. Why? Because you're not confident in you.
Mm-hmm.
So then maybe this is something we gotta focus on here. Just is because I think it's everybody goes through it. Like the self doubt stuff is like this part of nature. You're gonna feel it. You're gonna experience it every time you do something new. Like this imposter syndrome thing that shows up. It's gonna show up, right? Because you being an entrepreneur. That's what like one of the part of the recipe of being an entrepreneur. It's like self doubt, imposter syndrome. It's real. It's real. So let's work on this lady. We're not gonna mention her name.
I don't even know
We're
her
gonna
name to mention it. Just
yeah,
don't worry.
okay. All right. So we're gonna coach her. Hypothetically, we're gonna coach her because there's people out there that's listening that are feeling that way, Jess.
Mm-hmm.
That are feeling that way and would love for somebody to listen, but they don't want to pay for somebody to listen to them. And that's one of the first problems is that like you got to pay for somebody to listen to your bad news. Why? Because bad news is a big ass boulder.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to carry that unless you can put a price on it. Like, all right, if I'm gonna listen to this thing and help you turn that ball into a pebble that you yourself can carry and other people can carry, then we gotta talk. But you gotta pay up. And most people are not willing to invest in themselves to transform their boulder into a pebble. Therefore, nobody gonna come around if all you giving all these big ass boulders. You ain't gonna bury me, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. You got a culture. You got a culture hypothetically, vicariously right now. Go ahead and culture.
You know, it really, at the end of the day, all starts with you. When you
Mm-hmm.
think about someone that has self doubt, a tagline that I use on my business card is that I help people turn self doubt into no doubt. And so, how do you make that happen? How do you go from second guessing everything about what you're doing, who you are, what you're worth, to becoming a person who has no doubt? Well, if you work with me, faith over fear is the number one is the number one thing. But how do you get to that place? It's really about giving somebody the brainwash for success. It's how do you feed your brain so that you feel different? What are you telling yourself that obviously is leading you to believe that you lack? So let's turn that lack mentality into more. Let's get you listening to positive podcasts. Let's get you reading empowering books. Let's get you taking different action so that you could have a different result. Being able to help coach people through those exercises, and really, above all things, part of that having more faith than fear is also, and you nailed it the other day when you said gratitude changes everything. You cannot be grateful and complain at the same time. There's no way you can do that. So it's about how do you focus in on what you do have and what you can control versus your lack of. When you think about, oh, I don't have customers, I don't have business partners, let's switch that narrative and reframe that thought. And what do I have control over that would allow me to be able to share my business and my products in a way that's going to give me a different result? People don't buy because of science and ingredients. People don't start businesses because of the name of a CEO. People buy you. People buy you. So it's how do we work on you to be able to believe that you are more than enough, that you have what it takes, that you are capable, that even though you've tried all these things before, those were lessons on your way to success. Those were failures that are pushing you forward because you know what you did that didn't work, and now the only thing you have control over is to do something different to see what does work.
Here's something interesting. I like where you put that. CEO. You don't buy the CEO, you buy the local CEO, which is you. So, you know, I was having this walk yesterday because I had the urge for some Cherry Garcia, man. I don't know what happened. So I had to walk to the store. I know I had to pull up my digestive enzyme when I get back for that. But but I was talking to my lady friend about the same self-doubt thing, right? And we was talking about like when your mind is broken, it is very difficult for people to service you. And the reason I popped in because I was walking, I walked by this I tell you like a homeless lady or something. Tell her she's on drugs. Um, but just the mind wasn't working right. You can tell based on the behavior, right? So when your mind is broken, it is very hard for people to service you because the first place they gotta put information is in your mind. Like I can lock you up and feed you and make you warm and comfortable, but there's no connection without the mind. And when the mind is broken, that means what? You're out of alignment. And it's very hard to align 2 points when they're both a moving target. Because when your mind is broken, you are a moving target. Therefore, it's very hard to align you with other people. You can align with other people because I can't hit you, right? You're not stable. And when you're unstable mentally, misalignment is your everyday life, and nobody can connect with you. So now going back to the self-doubt, when you're self-doubt, you're out of alignment. Therefore, the person that wants to buy into you cannot because they can't bet on you because you're unstable. You're not consistent enough, right? I don't know your axis, so therefore I can't rotate around you. And I think it starts with like how you think about your own thinking, how you think about yourself. And when you're in self-doubt territory, nobody's gonna bet on you. Therefore, nobody's gonna buy from you. And then you're gonna feel even more self-doubt because nobody's saying yes. Everybody's saying no. And it always come back to how do you navigate your own place, get yourself in alignment, get your mind right, and surround yourself with the right people that will keep you aligned.
That's where community comes in, right? That's where growth and mindset then have to become the focus. It's when you see that, okay, no one wants to do business with me. No one wants to buy my product. What is it about me that doesn't give people the confidence to say yes to the sale? Is it that, are we trying to sell? Okay, you wanted Cherry Garcia. Am I trying to sell you though? You told me you want Cherry Garcia, but I'm telling you that I have the world's best cherry yogurt. No, Jess, I don't want cherry. But this is better than Cherry Garcia, Astra. You need to have this cherry yogurt. Jess, your cherry yogurt costs 5 times more than my Cherry Garcia.
Garcia.
Yeah, right? And instead of me telling you or justifying to you why my cherry yogurt is worth the 5 times more with a testimonial, with a story of how I had this cherry yogurt and it changed my life and how it changed my life. Instead of me just telling you it's worth it, Ashley, you'll like it. Just buy it from me. Just buy it from me.
But I know I don't trust you like that.
And I'm not even answering your questions to tell you for you to trust me. Because if you meet somebody and they listen, if that guy in the back that we were in the Uber, if he would have spun me like a beautiful picture of Amway, who knows? Maybe I would have considered it, right? But he spoke what he thought I wanted to hear instead of listening to me and what I was asking, or really what Jackie was asking, and not answering the question in that way. And so it's the thing that really holds us back. We don't listen. We have these preconceived notions in our brain, not only of ourselves, but what we think the other person wants or is looking for. We don't give ourselves an opportunity to, make a mistake, but then let's learn from it. Don't keep making the same mistake over and over. Because then that becomes like stupidity at some point. If you keep trying to do the same thing over and over, and every time you get the same result or you get a worse result, why are you going to keep doing that same thing? At what point do you need something to shake you up and wake you up and say, that is not working, let's do something different? Because I guarantee if they do something different, they'll have a different outcome, and that doesn't always mean the different outcome is going to be successful. It just means it's a different way. They got a different result. They got a different answer.
You just got me thinking about when you said the guy could have painted you a better picture. so the person that normally say yes is the one that paints the best picture.
Yes.
Hey, I'm gonna talk about the paint. Nah, bro, I just need the picture. Bro, I'm gonna tell you what different color of the paint. I don't care about the color of the paint. I need a better picture. So if you are good at painting picture of the thing, people will say yes because it's the vision. Like you could sell them on the future, but versus the feature. If you sell them on the feature, they're like, sell me on the future. And if you can sell people on the future, they will buy it. But then you go back. You gotta go back to how you listen to what feature they want you to paint a picture for them. Because you were saying that in the backseat, the guy would have paint you a picture of the future. You're like, I want that future. Then maybe you could, trust him enough to listen to the feature later on.
Right.
But the guy was just painting the picture of the features.
Because yes, that's exactly. He thought that and in my head, and I'm like, God forgive me, but like if you were really making money with your company and getting a $20,000 bonus at the end of the year, we're only in, well, now it's March, but this was February. We're only in February, and you're driving for Uber in the middle of the night practically. Because by the way, we were going to that nightclub that Uber. I'm like instead of being home with your wife, like you're out here hustling this hard. I respect his hustle. First off, I respect that he was out there doing what he needs to do for his family. Absolutely, 100%. But let's talk about how to realistically pitch in that way. Obviously, he didn't know how much I make or Jackie makes, or he didn't know really. If I had to guess, maybe he knew the company. I did tell him the company's name. But after he finished with his spiel of when Jackie asked what he liked best, he said the trip and the bonus. And I was like, well, for me, what I like best about my company is that I get to have customers in 190 different countries. and the company drop ships for me. I don't need to guess what people are going to want to buy. I have no inventory requirements. The company holds all of the inventory and pays me all of the profit. I said, that to me is one of the best parts of having a business partnership with my company. I said, I also love the fact that I don't get paid on levels. I'm incentivized to work with all the people in my organization, not just a select few, because those are the people that I profit from. I love being able to help build leaders within my organization because it makes me feel like I'm impacting them in their lives and their family through the work that we do. So it's that picture of what I like best versus the feature of the $20,000 year-end bonus and the trip to, he didn't even say where the trip was to, by the way. Maybe it was the trip to Dubai, I don't know. But it's like what you said was so perfect. We try to sell people on features instead of trying to sell people on futures. What their future has the capacity to look like. What's possible. Because in life, you don't know what you don't know. So when somebody asks me a question, I'm going to make sure that I make it, the answer sound as spectacular as I possibly can. So much so that they're going to want to ask me more questions. They're going to ask me, well, how can I work with you? They're going to ask me something that's going to continue to allow me to get to know them.
Let me ask you this question. I remember when I first started, I left the military and I was like, get into entrepreneurial space. And I'll be honest with you, 100% transparent. It was hard as hell. Just, yes, no, really. It was hard. Why? Because one mindset don't fit the next mindset territory. So the hard part is using army mindset to do entrepreneurial work. It is so hard. I had to destroy that one and build a new one. It got easier once a mindset shift. Like, oh, entrepreneurial space requires these kind of thinking. Military construct require this kind of thinking. I bring it over here, not gonna work. Why? Because I'm gonna lay this way. You know, they said democracy is the conversation, and dictatorship is just dictate. Military is very dictatorship, right? Do this, do that, do that, do that.
We're going to call that
When,
systemized.
yeah, yeah. But then when you get entrepreneur space, it's relationship based. That means it's conversational. And if you're not good at conversational communication, you're gonna have a very hard time. And if I only understand the setup, I would use my skill set of being a great communicator or conversationalist. I'm very social, but I did not understand how to put that into play because I was thinking I'm already have the habits and behavior of doing dictatorship. I'm pretty good at getting shit done, but to get stuff done, people gotta follow you to get it done. And if they're like, bro, where you going? I don't understand yet. I can't run with you yet because I understand what you're asking me. The picture is not painted properly. I don't know where we're going, bro. Right? So in the entrepreneurial space, I had to learn that the mindset got to shift. And if it didn't shift, it was continually getting hard for me. So like you talk about a lady in that shop, like the mindset probably why it's so hard because she's using the wrong mindset to do the business that requires a different mindset. And without that shift, it was gonna be as hard as this for me when I first started off. Like, bro, I don't get it. I don't get it, Jess, and I'm stressed. It's hard.
When you think about, some of the things, the traits of an entrepreneur versus a military personnel, right? In the military, everything is very systemized.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is almost like your job is to execute. That's your only job. When you are an entrepreneur, you need to have creativity. You need to have flexibility. You need to learn to question everything.
Mm-hmm.
And those are not traits that you use in the military. Don't question anything in the military, right? But question everything as an entrepreneur. When I mean question everything, yeah, asking the questions like to get to know people or to learn more, but also asking the question of what could I have done different? What could I do better? What could I learn from this? And when we talk about what could I learn from this, don't always think about that something negative happened. When something good happens in your business, how can I learn from this so that I keep doing this? Because it worked and I want it to continue to work. We take so much like joy in the win, like when we win, when we hit that goal, when we sell that product, when we reach an achievement. We celebrate and we have so much joy, but do we actually sit back and analyze and question what was it that we did so that one, we could do it again, but two, we can teach someone how to do it and have the same result, have that same win. That's the thing.
Well, I think if the lady was listening to this conversation right now, she got some good coaching from Jess. If that guy in the cat in the Uber was listening to you, probably just got some good coaching from Jess. You just pretty much coach a guy and a girl. Who else did we coach today?
I know. Oh, yeah. That's a good question, right? Who else did we coach today?
Who was vicariously understand the journey of being an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
tackling the marketplace that is your market.
Yeah. I mean, some big takeaways from this conversation for me, and I hope they're big takeaways for the audience, really is don't focus on selling the features, focus on selling the future. Help somebody see what is possible, what is the end result, whether it's a product or a service or a business opportunity that you are offering somebody. That's what people buy. They want to know what they're going to get. When you think about, there are certain things we buy from a dollar and cents perspective, right? So some people, when they're looking at the cable company, well, which cable company costs the least amount of money? But then when you talk about
We're gonna go with Comcast. I'm just kidding. We started with Comcast, by the way. It's interesting that you
Is
circle back to
Ashley
that.
getting paid by Comcast? No, he's not.
No,
No paid
I'm
ads
just,
here.
I'm just studying their business
But
model,
we're
right? The marketing
open.
model right
If
now.
anyone from Comcast hears this and they want to, add throw some ad dollars, we'd be more than happy. But in all, going back to the wrap up here of, then there are other purchases that we make in our life that it's not so much about the dollar and cents. It's about how is it going, what the end result is. So when we're talking, how is it going to make us feel? How is it going to make us look? Whether it's a piece of clothing or even a vitamin. What's the end result? And how do I know that that's the end result? Because you shared enough stories with me about people that you know or that you work with that have had the end result that I'm looking for. And so you're not selling me the digestive enzyme. You're selling me the end result of the digestive enzyme. You're selling me that I get to eat Cherry Garcia and not have to worry, right? That's what you're selling me. So focus in on the future and not so much the features, and change your mindset in the conversations that you're having with people, and you'd be surprised.
Mm. My biggest takeaway is Jess had a really good time in Miami.
I did.
She came back with a different little different bit of energy to circulate, to give back. And I think it comes back to sometime you gotta get away to get away.
Yeah.
You know, and you gotta get away to give away certain things that you couldn't give away because
Mhm.
stuff was in your way. And when stuff is in your way, it's like, wait a minute, I feel like I'm stuck.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm stuck because my story is not moving the people I'm talking to. And when your story is not moving those people, then it makes you feel like, I don't have no value. You start self-doubting yourself because the power of your story matters. And if your story doesn't sound powerful to you, it won't sound powerful to somebody else. And therefore you can't move them because what moves them is the story. It's not the physical thing, it's a story that moves people.
Yeah.
It's a story about your life. It's a story about your product, right? It's a story about the thing that you can predict that's going to set them on the right course. And if your story is off, it's not centered, it's out of alignment, people could tell. And that's why that lady's sitting in a place having a difficult time because her
Mm.
story is out of alignment with her, and people can smell it, they can taste it, they can see it. They're like, I'm sorry, lady, not sold yet because you're not sold.
Mm-hmm. That 100% truth there.
Mm.
100%.
Just good to see your face smiling again. I think this is going to be beneficial to folks that listen to it. Again, we have so much to talk about. So we're going to end this chat here and we're going to get behind the scene. We're going to work on some stuff if we got time. But folks, thank you for tuning in. The Idea Tennis podcast is still going on. We got to get back on track, man. Jess, she's been busy. But let's make it fun the rest of the year. With that, make it an utterly fantastic day.